BP is arguably the most hated company in America right now, and there's been so much criticism with the way the company has handled the tragic events in the Gulf, the oil spill getting worse and worse by the day. With that in mind, some people are calling for the government to actually seize BP's North American assets. And a couple of senators have even suggested that BP suspend its dividend in order to make sure it has the financial resources to cover all of the legal claims and cleanup costs. I think this might be going a little bit too far. Don't get me wrong, BP has done an awful job so far, and no one would deny that. But it's a slippery slope to suggest that the government needs to actually take over or force a company to suspend dividend payments to shareholders. That just really seems to be a dangerous precedent. And if anyone remembers, no one liked when the government did this with the banking sector in the bailout of 2008. So what do you guys think? Should the U.S. take control of BP? Most readers thought it was, in fact, a terrible idea. Raja Banerjee wrote that the legal costs, as evidenced by their stock hit, are astronomical. We have every reason to be angry at BP, but really, BP is probably the company with the highest level of expertise for fixing this problem. I say we just let them fix it and hold them accountable for the damages they have wrought. It's a great point. A professor that I spoke to for my column about this echoed that. It's not a secret that BP is on the hook. Investors know that, and that's why they're punishing the stock. Eric Larson said seizing BP would actually backfire. Seize BP's U.S. assets, they pick up their marbles and go home, and all you have left are some oil wells and empty office buildings. What are you going to do with that? Sell them at fire sale prices to some other oil company? How's that going to pay for the cleanup? It won't even come close, and taxpayers will get the shaft. There's another concern I raised in the column. If you actually have the U.S. taking over the North American assets of BP, what would that mean if BP did actually have its financial situation deteriorate even further? Would the U.S. now be on the hook because BP has gone under? Hopefully it won't go that far. Finally, Jonathan V. worried about the precedent that this would set. When governments fail to respect private property rights and start seizing things, that is the beginning of the end of the rule of law. I think it's time to impeach politicians who retroactively and unconstitutionally change laws to single out corporations for special punishment. If this attitude is not stopped, it might lead to very bad places. Impeaching politicians may be going a little bit too far, but I definitely agree with the point that it would lead us to very bad places if we send the signal to the rest of the world that the U.S. will step in and seize other countries' companies' assets. BP is a British company just because they're doing something that we don't like. Obviously, not to be glib. I mean, this is a terrible situation, but what I think needs to be done is just enforcing existing laws and making sure that BP is held accountable. That doesn't mean you have to take them over to do that.